1 2 1 2 check 1 2. Oh, it's Ken Dizzle, the Black Cyclist. We are here on Monday, the 20th of January. It's another late start. It's another computer crash. All the more reason for me to be doing a new PC build. More about that later on. But stage 3, flat and fast. There were no hills. If you joined me on Saturday, you would have seen me suffering up the grade. Oh, I think it was like mostly 12% gradient for most of it and peaking at 18 at some points. No such luck with hills on today's ride. We are doing a magnificent 8. It is 28.8 kilometers, so let's call it 29 kilometers. Guess the power up as usual. I'm going for feather. Start us off with a feather. There you go. So I'm 1 for 1 so far. No hills on this one, literally about 150 meters of total elevation across the 29 kilometers. As always, we are here because we want to get fit and just enjoy a chat while we're doing it. So whether you're watching, thinking about getting fit, using watching me as an excuse to not do something right now, that's all fine. Motivations can come later, or it's just tips and guidance. What is this online cycling thing? What can I learn? We are the channel about caring and sharing. Shout outs to anyone who's live in the chats. You know, I'll give you a name call. Thanks for joining. As always, I appreciate. There are millions of YouTube channels out there to be watching. For some reason, you've chosen to watch me. Let's go. Oh, my computer's doing funny things. I keep getting this command window keeps coming up, but the second fan's kicked in as we get to the hill. Woo. Yeah, 22 degrees currently in the wattage cottage. So we are doing the Tour de Zwift. We have now reached stage 3, so a chance to spin the legs out. And I know we're going up a slight hill now, but it's only 3%. 3%'s like a speed bump. It's not a lot. We give some ride on to our fellow cyclists as we pass them. But as always, the start of the week is like where we take it easy. Grade 2, you'll see my graph at the bottom. Should be mostly blue. Might be some little bit of green coming, but I'm looking to keep it blue. True blue. Ugh. So, what are we going to talk about today? As always, I'll give you some brief updates onto what you can see on the screen. This Zwift setup. What do the numbers mean? All this data. Sometimes it can be, or it can look a little bit overwhelming. But for that, I can simply just do this. I can just turn off the hood. Then it's just me, any cyclist in or around me, and the amazing views of Zwift. Right in front of us now, we've got the volcano. I'm not sure if we're going to actually be riding through that volcano or we're going around the outside like 3 buffalo girls. And throw your partner. Right, I need to stop this command. It's something saying about I need to update Linus. Let me just drag it out the way so it's on a different window so it's not disturbing me. Minimize this down as much as I can. Oh, command prompt. It's a good job I'm not racing, eh? Okay, we're back. One of the advantages of riding an indoor bike on a turbo trainer, if you need to do something, you can just pause, or you can do it. No need to worry about balance. This is a bike that I ride outdoors occasionally, but it lives permanently in this room. It sits on this turbo trainer just behind me in the back wheel, and as I pedal, it translates the effort I'm putting out. So my legs are turning round. The watts I pull out through the pedal. I have a heart rate strap which measures my heart rate, and that translates it onto the screen. I'm just getting like endless windows running. I think like, oh, I hope I haven't got some bug on my computer. It's like, it just means that I can't see my OBS screen. So all this thing comes, it's like, just stop, leave me alone. It just won't go. Right, okay, I think I've either got to move my OBS to a different window or just accept that I can't do anything on this screen. What am I going to do? Okay, forget it. Let's just enjoy the stream. Enjoy the ride. I've always got my companion app. Put some metrics back on. So right now we are riding through a volcano. It's an actual real volcano, but in a virtual created world. So the only temperature that really matters is how hot it is in my wattage cottage and the pace of my heart rate heating me up. Heart rate is it's a bit low actually, but obviously I've been stopping and starting, so 130. We'll have it sitting in about the early 40s, I think, early 140. And what I'm going to do, actually, I'm just going to get rid of this feather because I don't need it, and I might as well use it on this slight little incline that's coming up here. Right, Reg, give me a little ride on. So the weekend is over. We start a new week. I like to kick off with a bit of zone 2 riding. Open up the lungs, get the legs nicely loosened and warmed up, and then see what the rest of the training week's got ahead of me. So weekends tend to be gym. I'll do some weights. I actually came back on Saturday for some strange reason and decided I was going to do the longer ride of stage 2, which was about 45 kilometers, mostly uphill. Sunday was a well-deserved recovery day, and today it's like almost back to business, just at a leisurely pace. So I'll talk about the screen a little bit more. I was also gonna have a chat about what you'd need if you wanted to also do some live streaming, and I guess that's kind of appropriate because I can talk about some of the computer issues I've been having, crashes, and I mean, it's a decent laptop, but it is 4 years old, and I'm probably asking a lot of it. Streaming, 2 monitors, broadcast software, multiple tabs, music playing. Yeah, I'm putting a lot of strain on that. GeForce GTX 16 something. Okay. Monday can be our new chill day. We can start the week nicely refreshed, reassess your targets, any goals that you have, whether that's counting calories, weight loss, reduction, amount of steps you want to get in for the day or for the week. Think of how many days you want to work out. So let's say you was going to do what I consider to be a minimum 2 days. I'd suggest you split that evenly. So if today was your start day, Monday, I'll probably have Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe Thursday off, and then do your second day on the Friday. So you've got 3 days in between, so it's nicely balanced out. Or if you could stretch to 3 days, work out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, rest, Thursday, another workout, and then one on the weekend. And if you think of it of total hours, if you was going to do like half an hour each day for 3 days, then you've got like 90 minutes. It doesn't mean you have to do 30 minutes on 3 separate days. if you've got more time on the weekend, then why not make that one 40 minutes? Then you can make the other ones in the week 20 minutes each. No, split it out. Make it work for you. And of course, just remember that. Keep pushing. Eventually, the gains do come. It's just harder to see them when you're right in the middle of doing it. So set yourself a goal and think about what it would mean and what it would look like if you can see yourself 1 year ahead into the future. And I think that's a realistic goal to work toward, because a year might seem like a long way away, but it's 12 months, 52 weeks. Split that into 4 quarters. It's really like 12 weeks each cycle, isn't it, really? 3 months. The first month's going to be the hardest, but it's also where you'll make the most gains. Month 2, well, quarter 2, is where you might start to feel a little bit of fatigue. You might be questioning yourself, is it really worth it? Especially if you're not seeing the immediate gains that you think you should be seeing. But if you can get past that second quarter, the third quarter is probably the easiest, because your body's all warmed up, you're used to the routine, you're starting to feel and even notice some of the changes. So by the time you get to your last quarter, the last 3 months, you're like flying. You're warmed up, you're stronger, you've hit some of those targets, some of those zones, some of those goals. And it's just a 12-week push to the end. Just like pushing up this hill. 2%, 4%. Let's go. Get the energy vibe. Visualize yourself somewhere in the future, and yeah, that new you a year ahead. This is what it takes to get there. And then when the year comes, then you get a chance to look back a year at where you were, see the improvements that you've made, and know that if you keep going, it not only gets easier, but the achievements are like multiplied. So yeah, inspiring talk by the BBC. Or none of that is relevant to you. You just want to occasionally get on the bike, be a bit active, whether that's indoors or outdoors. I love outdoor riding more than indoor, because you know, you got the natural air, the natural scenery, sites you can stop and see people, coffee breaks. Yeah, all good. But when you can't go outside, you've got the virtual world of Zwift and Watopia. So today looks like a very popular day once again. There are currently 1,737 fellow cyclists on this particular route, on this particular ride. I'm currently position 1661. Not that it matters, it's not a race, it's just a group ride. Ride at your own pace, ride in a group, race, challenge people. It doesn't matter! But of course, if you do ride in a group or a draft, then your ride's going to be a little bit easier. So yeah, so a very light topic today. General ramblings and talkings about my weekend, my training plan for the year ahead. But also, there's a reason why the stream started late today and I'm miles behind all the other group of the riders. So I've had this laptop for 4 years now, and it's a great laptop. It's been doing me really well. But I've been thinking about upgrading it for a while now to an actual desktop PC. More powerful, more customizable, and of course I can still run the Zwift game from the laptop and then just do a screen capture with a capture card. So I'm not putting as much pressure onto one single system. So for the first time in my life, I will be building a PC from scratch. Now I've tinkered about a bit, you know, through my life, changing like the old style modems back when it was like, I upgraded from like something like a 14K modem to a 28 and to a 56 when they were actually inside the PC. You know, I've done like upgraded RAM, added like SATA drives, that kind of thing, hard disks. But I've never built a computer, so I've been trolling the internet, watching lots of videos, lots of reviews. Finally made the decision that I was going to go for the AMD processor, the Ryzen 9. I'm waiting for the new 9950 X3D to come out. I think it's going to be March. But in the meantime, I've just been trying to learn about what it is I need to do, how to do it, what to avoid, and just keeping my eye on prices for equipment. I'm going for a black and white build mostly. So I've got a white case. I'm not too fussed about all the internal components being white, hence the black and white. White tends to be slightly more expensive, less available. So I've given myself some flexibility between having to get something and pay a premium because it's the white version, or I can opt for, actually I can make some savings here, or this one's available now, let's go for that. So I've got everything that I need so far, apart from the, I suppose you could say they're the most important components. Out of the 8 components, I'm still yet to get the CPU, which is going to be the Ryzen when that one comes out. The GPU, that's graphics card, which, I don't know, up until CES, like a couple of weeks ago, I was all kind of set thinking I was going to go for the AMD graphics card, the RX 7900 XTX, which was, I think it's supposed to be a new one coming out, but I think they're focusing on low-end and mid-range cards, more focused on gamers. And I don't game. Technically, this Zwift app is the only gaming that I do. It's not really gaming, is it? You know, I'm using my legs rather than my hands or my fingers. So it's looking like I might be having to spend about £1,000 for the particular spec graphics card that I want. Trying to keep my build, well, I'm not trying to, I think the build's going to be somewhere between £2,500 to £3,000, but I'm trying to get as high spec as possible so I can do as much future proofing as possible. So I shouldn't really have to worry about upgrades or incompatibility issues for at least 2 years, possibly 3 to 4. If anyone's got any tips, if you've built a PC before or you've got some knowledge, know-how, you want to share that with me, yeah, well, I'll take a return sharing the vibes. And then memory. So RAM, I kind of know the RAM I want. I think I want a particular brand, which is by Corsair. Low latency of CL30 with a clock speed or write speed, whichever one it is, of around about 6,000. That seems to be optimal speed for the AM5 and the high-end Ryzen 9 processor. And ideally what would be good, because the motherboard is like an Asus ProArt, and that's like like a dark grey, no RGB on it. It's really, you know, done for workstation creator rather than gamer with RGB death all over it. But I think some nice white 64 gig or meg, whatever it is, 64 meg GB, megabyte, gigabyte, 64 gig. I'm thinking it's like a N64 gaming console. 64 gigabytes of RAM on 2 sticks. The white will, I think it will set off quite nicely against the charcoal grey motherboard, especially if I can like have some white RGB going across it as well. So I've got a white AIO, that's the cooler for the processor. It's actually contrast nice. All of that sat in a white case. Montech Pro 95, King Pro 95 in white. It's like an atrium style case. You can see all those like hundreds and hundreds, no, the few £1,000s that you spent, you can like stand there or sit there looking at it. Why put it in like just a box with a lid on? I want to see, I've spent so much money on it. And then in terms of like storage, like internal memory, I'm not going with like the old-fashioned SATA drives. I'm going for PCIe 4 solid state, is it SSD? Gen 4, all 5. I might go 5 because it's going to be faster write speeds, but if I get 2 gig at Gen 5, it's twice the amount. Let's say I could get 1 gig Gen 4 or 4 gigs Gen 4. So I don't know. Memory, I probably don't need all Gen 5. So maybe I'll get 1 gig Gen 5 and I'll run things like the operating system on the one, and I'll do like video processing and store the files on the other. Have the one faster, the one, I mean, don't get me wrong, they're both crazy fast, but that's what I'm going to do. So if this conversation's bored you a bit because PCs aren't really your thing, it does mean that when I come to start the stream, I'm not going to have crashes like literally 2 minutes before I start. Now, on a positive note, my plan was to start in the pen with 2.5 minutes to go and talk about being in the pen. So that meant that I didn't have to catch up so much because it took me about 3 minutes to get restarted again. Anyway, as I say, if anyone's got any tips on PC building, hey, if anyone's got any discount codes, hey, better than that, if anyone, any companies want to send me some stuff to try out and give a review on my first PC build, I'm sure you're all watching. What's his name? The boss of Nvidia. Yeah, who wants me to spend £2,000 on a GPU. Yeah, send me one to try out. Let me see if it's really worth my £2,000, and if it is, I'll pay full price next time. Anyway, you can see my graph below is pretty much grey. I think too much talking, not enough working. If it feels too easy, you're not working hard enough. But if it feels good, then just go with it. I'm just going to try and get some blue into that graph below. Heart rate is below 130. So I'm just chilling, which is kind of what it's all about, but I don't want to chill too easy. Let's sweat for a reason. Just under 20 kilometers left. We're coming up to a gate. You know what time it is. It's guess the Powerup. Okay, so your options are feather, aero, draft, or XP. I reckon there's no one around me. I know your game, Zwift. You're going to give me a draft. There's no hills. There's no point giving out feathers. Had a feather on the first one. I'm all in. Draft. Place your bets. Oh, feather, I should have gone feather again. If you went feather, congratulations. You get 1,000 BBC kudos points. You can spend them in all good personal imaginations. You go and knock yourself out, spend away whatever your imagination can conjure. Oh yeah. So we're in Super Tuck vicinity. So as you can see at the top above me, you can see I'm currently going 56 kilometers an hour. If I stop pedaling, 58, 59, the gradient's higher than -3. Should drop into Super Tuck, although Zwift have been changing the rules lately, so yep, just dropped in. Up and out. I can tuck for maybe a couple of seconds here. No tuck. We don't need to tuck, but the Super Tuck, it's been banned by the UCI, but it's basically like where you sit on the top bar with the bike, get down really low so you can be as aero as possible. So you get maximum aero, so your speed just maintains or just keeps building. But when you use that in Zwift, it's a really good thing to be able to like utilize correctly, because if you unlock a race or a long group ride, these are the sorts of sections where you can initiate, you know, get into the Super Tuck, and then you actually physically don't need to pedal, so you can grab some really quick recovery, whether that's a bit of a pause on the legs so your legs can like regain some like energy recovery back, or just a chance to regain your breath, hydrate. Every second counts when you're racing, and any bit of recovery or save wattage. Hey look, is that me in front? It looks like an identical me, but with glasses. I'm not the only black British cyclist in Zwift. There are two of us. He's now drafting. He's obviously a bit cooler than me because he's got the this surfer dude shades on, but he doesn't have the Tron bike. So we're talking about RGB. It's RGB Tron. So if this dude behind me, Ash Royal, keeps up the pace, we can share some draft for the remaining 17 or so kilometers, make our ride a bit easier. Thanks to everyone who's watching today. If you're already subscribed, thank you for subscribing. You'll get the alerts whenever I go live or when I post a new video. And if you haven't subscribed, well, you're not going to get the alerts. You're not going to like see when the BBC's on. We all need some BBC in our life. Never fear the BBC. Right, I'm going to go back to normal view since this is gone. Oh yeah, this feels good. Oh, I've got some Sheba socks. Try saying that fast 10 times. She sells Sheba socks, tabby socks. Hey, it's a sock day. Toe beans, warm, with these perfect socks. Oh. So that is one good thing about Zwift. It's all the unlocks you get, whether it's different kit, socks, jerseys, bikes, something to work towards. Unlocking a certain bike, reaching a certain level. For me, my first big thing was unlocking this Tron bike. 50,000 meters of climbing. So if you are joining Zwift and you want this fancy neon bike, you can't buy it. You can only unlock it in-game by cycling thousands of meters, but vertical meters, so it's about the elevation gain, it's not the distance. So if you do join, one of the first things to do is go to the Zwift main screen, go to challenges, and select the elevation challenge to unlock the Zwift concept bike, aka the Tron bike. So it doesn't matter when you ride, where you ride, any elevation that you make. So if you look just above my Cyclists on the screen, you can see I've done 110 meters. That would just tally up to your 50,000 meter tally, and once you've reached it, you get the Zwift concept bike, which I think is the most coveted bike in Zwift. Certainly was by me anyway. I remember getting closer and closer. I'm thinking, what are the first colour wheels I'm going to have? And you know it was pink, don't you? It was definitely pink. Pink wheels. But I pretty much just climbed out the Zwift as many times as possible. Group rides, training courses, up a hill. Oh, I was 1700 then. Now I'm 1701. Right, we'll have to pass this dude. Yeah, so if you ride in Zwift, but you want to push yourself a little bit more, doesn't mean you have to go all out and be riding with the leaders of the group. You can just start riding, and then once everyone's got settled, you can just use the metrics around you to think, okay, where do I want to be? So here, for example, I know that I'm coming up to halfway through. I've done 13.5 kilometers, 15.5 kilometers left. I'm currently positioned 16.98, so I can be like, well, at the very least, I'm going to try to finish within like 1700. We wanted to push it, say, let me see how many places I can gain above and beyond where I am now. So can I get to 16.97 and that's the guy in front, or can I gain 10 places? And that gives you like a little bit to aim for. Or look at your time, think, right, so I'm halfway through, I've done it in 34 minutes so far, so can I double that a little bit less? Can I do it in under an hour or under 65 minutes? So many different ways you can set a pace. Can I get my average watts to be 100 or 140, 160? Or even simple, just, I'm gonna ride today, I'm gonna keep my graph solid blue, or I'm gonna keep my heart rate below 145. Make it your ride. Every pedal turn rotation you do takes you one, let's say, step if you're not walking, but one step forward towards your eventual goal. Right, I think this music is so chilled, it's chilling out my conversation. Should we up it a bit? I've got a mood track on. It's like an advert to a relaxing holiday retreat somewhere in the Watopia wastelands or the tropical jungle routes. Maybe this should have been the whole theme of today's ride. Put on some nice chilled Zen type tunes like this. Get the heart between 130, 140. Nice steady cadence between 80 and 90. Open up occasionally, do some fast spinning. And just think about all the hard work you've been doing in your training journey. I feel like I'm a Peloton instructor. Hey, what's up? It's Peloton, yo. So I'm gonna fire off this Powerup, because as you go through this arch, we're gonna get another one on one right, one wrong. So we try and see if we can go 2 up, get the Powerup, feather, aero, draft, or XP. I mean, another feather would be ridiculous. So it's probably gonna be feather, but there's no one around me, and sometimes Zwift is mean. So I'm going draft. Place your bets. There it is. So we are 2 for 3 with the draft Powerup. The draft Powerup is pretty useless when there's no one in front of you, but if you're riding with a group and you are within their draft, so you're sat behind the wheel of another rider, or you're in a group of riders, you're shielded from the wind forces that will be hitting the person in front. That's called the draft. And Zwift, to make this cycling a little bit gamified, more engaging, more interesting, they put Powerup. So similar to Mario Kart or similar car driving games, go through a gate, eat a mushroom, you know, you get a Powerup. And the draft is one of them, which when you're in the draft, it's just going to increase the draft benefit that the Zwift algorithm is generating for you. And I think it increases it by a factor of about 10%, maybe 15%. So think of it as like, if you was Popeye, you'd be having like a mouthful of spinach. And it lasts for about 30 seconds. But this road, this is like the Tempest Fugit route through the desert. It's pretty much flat. I think like 49 meters of elevation across the entire route. Now you're not on Tempest, but there's very little elevation on this section. This is the Magnificent 8, the Fugo Flats. Another cyclist, give him a little ride on, give him a boost. One thing we know for certain is they haven't got a puncher, but they're probably just taking a bit of a breather. 12.8 kilometers on this relaxed Zone 2 Monday ride. There are other Powerups. The feather makes your avatar, your rider, a little bit lighter. And we all know a lighter rider is going to travel easier and quickly and faster up a hill. Heavy riders have a benefit going downhill, because the heavier you are, obviously, the faster you can go. So use your Powerups strategically, whether you're racing or just doing a ride. Like, do it when you need a bit of an energy relax, or for a speed boost, sprint into the line or something like that, or just to make a hill a little bit easier for a little bit of the time. And then there's the aero, which looks like the helmet. So that just makes your avatar aerodynamic. Zwift have built in different metrics and an algorithm that calculates how your rider moves. So I put in my weight, my age, my height, all that sort of stuff. It also factors in what type of bike you're on, whether you're on a mountain bike with thick knobbly tyres, or an aero road bike with smooth tyres, or disc wheels. All tiny little calculations that will affect, even with the pedaling that you're doing on your bike, how it translates, mimicking the real world. So obviously a bigger, heavier rider is gonna travel slightly slower on the flats than a smaller rider. Wind resistance, all that kind of science stuff that I don't know a great deal about, but there are lots of videos out there that have studied this the most popular being Zwift Insider. Zwift Insider doesn't mean you've got a sexual relationship with a bike. Or people like GP Llama who do all the reviews, all the timings, other different bikes, different wheels, time it takes to ride up the Zwift. And there's another Powerup I was going to mention, and that's the XP. So you can get XP points, anything from, I think, 10, sometimes it's 10 XP points, or sometimes it's 250, and the most you get is 1,000. So once you've climbed up the Zwift, you go through, you get a chance to win the Millenstein wheels, which are one of the lightest wheels in game. You can't buy them, you can only win them on the spin the wheel once you've got to the top of the Alp. But once you've done it the first time, you get I think it's 1,000 XP when it spins, because you can't get 2 sets of wheels, you can only get one. And there's some other power-ups that only activate in race scenarios, like the Ghost power-up, just like the Ghost in Mario, turns you invisible for a few seconds, so you can use that strategically. Launch that just before you start a sprint, so your riders around you can't see that you've gone. Chance to beat them on the break. There's an anvil, which of course makes you heavier. There's a steamroller. So let's say he was on a cobble road, or on a gravel road, like an uneven road. Zwift calculates there's going to be more rolling resistance. So when you press the steamroller, for you and you only, it levels out that gradient as if you was on tarmac where we are now. So you'll travel slightly faster. And there's one more, which is the burrito. That's essentially, it means you fart around your other riders, thus deactivating any draft benefit they might be getting. I mean, who can draft if someone's done a fart cloud around you? I mean, you kind of want draft. Maybe the draft gets taken to vent the burrito fart. That's probably what it is. No one wants burrito fart. Unless you were a burrito, maybe. Anyway, sometimes I talk nonsense, sometimes I talk sense. Coming up to 10 kilometers. Thank you again for choosing to watch the BBC live on a Monday. So I am for 2025, live at 5. Mondays and Thursdays. You can sometimes get a bonus live with the BBC on a Saturday. That will usually be in the afternoons. And if not on a Saturday, I might also do the occasional Sunday ride, but that will be more about just looking at doing like a recovery ride, and more about talking about my Zwift setup, my streaming information, and specifically talking about using AI for cycling content, and this new PC that I'm going to build. Other than that, it's all about bikes, cycling, getting fit. So let's see if I can use this Powerup. I think I'll try and show you the benefit of a draft. Steve might be going a little bit too slow. Let's fire it anyway. Might as well get some use out of it. So, as you approach the cyclist in front, you'll see the little icon above says this is going way too slow. Probably not the best example, is it? Anyway, let's see. Let's try it again. No, we call this a draft fail. Oh, generally lost. I just give me a ride on in game. one of my fellow Zwifters, part of the Twitch Degens. We stream over on the other channel, Twitch. But two of us also stream here live. I'll catch you stream afterwards. He's probably doing exactly the same ride that I'm doing now, so I guess he's starting off, getting warmed up, starting at 6 UK time, but probably 11 AM across the pond. I'm sure he's been watching the no, I'm not going to mention it. We will be at that person free zone. So hot. Funny thing is, like when I don't speak, I can obviously concentrate on my breathing more. So I'm just gonna pedal for about 2 minutes, get some oxygen into my lungs. I'll be back with the chat. See that building in the distance there, just above? I always think that looks like a superhero hideout. If I was a superhero in Zwift, that is where I'd have my hideout. Not that it's very well hidden, but you know what I mean. The, what would I call it? What would you call it? What would you call your Zwift highlight? Hideout, if you had a lair. The Watts, maybe the Watts Tower. The Watchtower, the Watts Tower. You can do better, leave something in the chat. Name your Zwift hideout. I'm going with the Watts Tower. Oh, roasting. Coming up to 7 kilometers to go. Every time I ride, heart rate is attached, Garmin is synced, and I clock not just my watts, distance, elevation and time, but also total amount of calories burnt. Actually, the Garmin also works out total amount of respiration. There's a towel's worth at least. So if you want to guess how many calories I would have burnt by the time this ride finishes, it should be any time within the next 10 minutes. I'm currently on 442 calories. What would it be at the end? I'm going with 590. Going too hard. Let's drop down a bit. Zone 2. Someone asked before, how do you stop going out of zone 2, zone 3? Kind of like got to feel that you're pushing harder. But if you look at your graph, see how it's gone like yellow and green, should never be seen. Bit of green's fine, but if we're going to yellow, then I'm pushing a little bit too hard for today's ride. So I'm going to drop back a bit. Feeling good. 6 kilometers left to go. I think this should potentially be, I don't know, 1%, 2% isn't really a hill, but this should be the last of the so-called climbing element of this ride. So I'm going to turn off the hood. Give us a chance to take in some of these countryside views, and if you're lucky, you might see a bear searching for honey. Pay attention, watch really, really closely. You go down to the woods today, you never know what you find. You go down to the woods today, you never know what you find. Coming up. Watch carefully, pay attention. So we are going to do a wildlife spotting or Zwift wildlife bingo on one of these rides. See how many different types of animals we can spot. Right, I think it's coming up after this next set of corners, unless I'm mistaken. I think I might be mistaken. I think I've led you up the wrong country path. I am actually. It's the wrong bit. I thought it was on Titan's Grove for a moment. Anyway, there's still some nice views. What do you think of the views? Definitely beats sat on a spin bike in front of a wall or a mirror. Not unless you're like a supermodel and you're like really, really good looking. But then would you fancy yourself? Narcissist a little bit. Just a bit. Let's see, we've got left 4 kilometers. Yeah, sometimes it's good to just turn off all the display, just ride, enjoy the ride. We're coming up to the last 4 kilometers. Let's do a summary of today's ride. So we were doing Tour de Zwift stage 3 or week 3. This is the standard ride of Tour de Zwift 2025. The route is called Magnificent 8. It's the fast group section, so not too many hills, mostly flat. A chance to get some speed if you want to race this, or just a chance to really open up the legs, open up the lungs. This particular route is 28.8 kilometers. We're going to round that up to 29. Coming up to 1 hour's total cycling. I think I've burnt around about 500 calories so far. There's about 2 kilometers or so left to the line. And we've been going a nice steady pace like where we are now. Heart rate's been, I think, averaging around about 140 or maybe a bit lower actually. Definitely between 130, 140. Right now we are heading through an underwater tunnel in Watopia. Riding these perfect virtual worlds of Zwift with our indoor cycling on our turbo trainers, whether they are direct drive or wheel on. Connect to the Zwift app, which you can see in front. Doesn't matter whether it's raining outside, snow, ice, dark. Jump on a bike, ride with other people just like you, but in another corner of the world somewhere. In their garage, their gym, living room, bedroom, anywhere you can set a bike up with an internet connection. And I do this streaming, sharing my experiences to anyone who wants to watch actually and listen to me ramble on. Usually I'm here for an hour. Sometimes it's a leisurely, although sweaty ride. At times it can be a race or a workout. I'm always suffering, but if you guys are watching, it makes that ride a whole lot easier for me. Even just seeing the viewer count in the distance. But if you are here and you want to give a shout out, just pop a question or just a hi or an emoji in the chat. Lets me know you're there, gives me a little boost of energy. And if you like shout outs, you'll always get a video shout out in the message. And I'll use chapters after the stream so you can jump to particular portions of the video where the conversation's a little bit more interesting than just me either rapping badly or singing badly or cracking bad jokes or just dead air. And if you're seeing this for the first time, welcome to Zwift online cycling. We don't even need to go outside. So we definitely just broke the 1 hour mark. If you like what you've listened to, what you've seen today, I genuinely appreciate every like, every comment. And if you like it a little bit more, then you might also want to think about maybe subscribing so you can look at some more of my videos or get notified when I do post. Sometimes it's a live, sometimes it's short, sometimes it's an educational or just a funny video. Okay, 25 degrees, so I've increased the room temperature by 3 degrees. All this pedaling, all this hot, all this sweating. Last mile. This will be the last bit of effort up this little 3% hill. And if you've been with me from the start of the stream to the end, then wow, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. My usual cool down routine, which I suggest you all do once your ride's finished. If you can, try and ride for a few minutes longer, just in a really easy gear, spinning lightly. Or if you can't do that at the end, then think about factoring that into the last, say, 3 or 4 minutes at the end of your ride. Spin on a nice low gear and just spin the legs out. But most importantly, give the your heart rate a chance to return to a normalish level again. Followed by some light stretching. For me, I like to have a nice soak in a hot bath, but shower, freshen up, and then my evening meal. Nothing too fancy, but usually always homemade and organic. A good balance of different types of foods. Whatever you like, really. And if you want to eat junk, eat junk. You've definitely earned it. I mean, I've burnt. What did I say? I said I reckon I was going to get to about 590 by the end. The Garmin currently says 552. 700 meters left to go. That might end up on 565, but there's the afterburn effect. Those additional calories that are still burning once you've finished your workout. I don't count that though. I think it will actually finish, especially by the time I've done my 5 or 6 minutes spinning. I think I might exactly end up on 590. So I'll be back on Thursday, where I'm either riding the longer ride, which I might do because it's flat, but primarily I'm doing a shorter ride. If I feel I've got some energy to burn, bearing in mind I've got Friday off work, I might just do the longer ride. Like, why not? I've only got to do it on the weekend if I don't, so I can have a harder weekend or a lighter weekend. What would you go for? You can catch me on Thursday, same time, live at 5, streaming from the Wattage Cottage. Chats as I ride, sharing the vibe, all things positive. Zwift, outdoor cycling, nutrition, workouts, anything really. Keep the conversation lively and friendly. I'm Ken Dizzle, the Black British Cyclist. This was a magnificent 8 on Tour de Zwift 2025. Let's go! Boom, boom. 1 hour free total time, 29.2 kilometers. There's my average watts of 119, and for some reason it's given me the route badge again. But anyway, I've done this magnificent 8 many times, but we love badges, virtual or real. And now to do what I said we'd do, just ride for a few more minutes, spinning out the legs. You can watch this video again with the chapters. I'm going to keep on spinning. Ugh. Oh, and I've got a hill to go. Oh, and if you get to Powerup, it was aero. I think I was, gotta stop paying attention, but I think I was 2 for 3. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you on Thursday. Boom. Computer, end workout.